So welcome everybody to this latest video on 162 Maths, and in this video we'll be continuing the series of going through some GCSE Maths higher revision questions focused on some big mock questions. Now again, a little reminder, if you're wanting a copy of the questions, all you need to do is just simply click on the link in the description. Now before we get started working through these questions, it's really important that you are fully confident in the topics you can see in these questions. As these are big mock questions, you're going to need to know your knowledge of each of these to find these questions even remotely approachable. Now if you're not sure about any of these topics you can see on the board, on screen rather, then feel free to check out the 162 Maths contents page, which goes through each of these topics in greater detail. And then again, another reminder that if you're wanting a copy of the questions and the mark scheme, all you need to do is just click on the link in the description. So moving straight on to question 1, it says ABC, BD and BE are straight lines. Angle EBD equals 5 times the angle of ABE. Angle DBC equals 3 times the angle of ABE. And the question is asking us to work out the size of angle EBD. So let's just first of all mark what the angle is that we're actually trying to find, which is angle EBD. So it's E to B to D. So this is the angle that we want. Now in terms of the information that's been given, we know that both of the other two angles are using angle ABE, which we don't know. So what we're going to do is we're going to start by calling this angle ABE X. Now angle EBD, which is what we're trying to find, is 5 times the size of angle ABE. So if angle ABE is X, then EBD is going to be 5X. And if angle DBC is 3 times the size of angle ABE, then this is going to be 3x. So what we know about angles on a straight line is that they all add up to 180. So if I add up the three angles, we get x plus 5x plus 3x equals 180. And you can see here that's now turning into a linear equation. So if we add up all the x's together and collect the like terms, we get 180 equals 9x. So we take the 9 over. So x equals 20. Now we've not finished yet because the question is asking us to find angle EBD. So angle EBD is equal to 5x. So that's going to be, if x is 20, it's going to be 5 times 20, which is 100 degrees. Moving on to question 2, let's just zoom in so we can see a little bit clearer on the screen. It says two prime numbers are multiplied together. The answer is an even number between 50 and 60. Complete the calculation. So for this, it's really important that we establish that when we're multiplying, that we know that an even times an odd number is going to give us an even answer. An odd times an odd is going to equal an odd answer. And an even multiplied by an even is going to equal an even answer. Now the next thing that's good practice for us to write down the prime numbers. So just the first couple, so we've got 2, 3, 5, 7, 11, 13, 17, 19, 23 and 29. Now in order for us to get an even answer, we definitely need to use the number 2, because obviously as you can see, in order to get an even answer, one of the numbers must be, at least one of the numbers must be even. Now it doesn't say how many times we can use that, they need to use different prime numbers, so we can use the same prime number twice, but in order to get an even answer we definitely need to use 2, and 2 times 2 is equal 4, which is not in between 50 and 60. So the only possible answer we can write here in any particular order is 2 times 29, which equals 58. And again, there are several ways in terms of the mark scheme that if you just pick 2 of the randoms, you may not get the 3 marks, you may get 2, or may get 1. So certain criteria are that the first number must be prime, the second number must be prime, the calculation must be correct, the answer must be even, and it must be within the range of 50 and 60. So again, if you're not sure, if you didn't get 2 times 29 equals 58, I'll check with the mark scheme to see how many marks you'd get for the answer that you wrote. Moving on to question 3, it says that Andrew and Bruce share money in the ratio of 5 to 6. Bruce gets £96. Andrew gives a quarter of his share to Carl. Bruce gives 2/3 of his share to Carl. How much money does Carl receive? So for this, what we need to do first is analyse how much each person has, in terms of Andrew and Bruce, how much they both have. Now we know straight away that Bruce has £96. So Bruce, which looking at this ratio has 6 parts, and that equates to £96. So then to first of all then find how much Andrew gets. So therefore from this we know that 1 part is going to equal 96 divided by 6, which gives us an answer of 16 rather. So then from this we can then work out what Andrew gets. So Andrew, who gets 5 parts, is going to be 16 times 5, which is £80. So now that we know how much Bruce and Andrew get, we can now work out how much of their proportion they give to Carl. So in terms of Carl, let's use a different colour. So in terms of Carl, so looking at Bruce, so Bruce gives 2/3, so 2/3 of Bruce's amount, which is £96. So from this I need to do 96 divided by 3 times 2, which gives us a value of £64. And then if I do Andrew's part, so Andrew gives a quarter, so that's going to be a quarter of 80, which is £20. So all that's left for me to then do is add those two amounts together, which comes up to a total of £84. So Carl gets £84. Moving on to question 4, and again I'll zoom in just in case because some of the notation is rather small. So it says 2 to the power of a times 3 times 5 squared equals 600. And the question is asking us to work out the value of a, and you must show your working. Now the must show your working basically means you can't guess to get your 3 marks. So it's really important that you do set your work out correctly. So here we've got 2a multiplied by 3 multiplied by 5 squared equals 600. Now if I work out what I can work out, which is these two things here, so that's going to be 3 times 25. So that's going to be 2a times 75 equals 600. Now if I take the 75 over by dividing by 75, I'm left with 2a equals 8. Now from this, all you need to do is then decide, look at your powers of 2. So it's not a case of how many 2's going to 8, it's how many times you have to multiply 2 to get 8. So 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 equals 8. And here, as you can see, I've got 3 2's, so therefore a must equal 3. Moving on to our next question, it says Sunita is X years old, Beth is 1 year younger than Sunita, and Joel is double the age of Sunita's age, and the mean of their ages is 5, and the question is asking us to work out how old is Joel. So again, for this, what we need to do is set up our equation. So we don't know what Sunita's age is, so we're just going to call it X. And then to work out Beth, well, it says that Beth is 1 year younger than Sunita, so that's going to be X minus 1. And Joel is double of Sunita's age, so if Sunita's X years old, Joel is going to be 2X years old. Now from this, we then need to work out that the average of those 3 ages is 5. So to work out the mean, we just add the numbers up, divide by how many they are. So here, if we add up Sunita, add up Beth, add up Joel, divide by 3 because there's 3 people, and it tells us that that is equal to 5. Now if I neaten this expression here, I'm going to get 4x minus 1 divided by 3 equals 5. Take the 3 over to the other side, and we get 4x minus 1 equals 15. So 4x equals 16, so x equals 4. Now from this, we can then work out how old each of these people are. So Sunita is going to be 4 years old, Beth is going to be 3 years old, and Joel is going to be 8 years old. So Joel is 8 years old. Moving on to question 6, it says the Venn diagram represents 100 items, and for A it's saying work out the probability of A and B. Now A and B is basically this middle area here, and remember we need to work out the probability, so it's going to be 13 over the grand total, which is 100. For question B it says work out the probability of not A. So if I just get rid of the shading from part A, so not A is everything that is outside of circle A. So that's going to be all of this bit here, And if I add up the numbers, I can see we've got 48 plus 11, which is 59. So the probability then is going to be 59 over 100. Note that none of these probabilities I've written so far can be simplified. For the next question, it says work out the probability of A or B. So again, if I just get rid of the shading. So probability of A or B, well, A is here. B is here. And for A or B, I want just the numbers that have been shaded. So here, if I add up 28 plus 13 plus 48, so 13 plus 28 plus 48 gives me 89. So the probability then is going to be 89 over 100. Then moving on to our last question, it says ABCD is a trapezium. All four sides are different lengths. AB is parallel to CD and the diagonals intersect at X. And it says for each statement, tick the correct box. So for this, it says triangles AXB and CXD are similar. Now, let's first of all just establish that which angles are going to be the same. Now, as you can see, we've only got two sets of parallel lines. So we can then use the alternate angle theorem to measure this. So this angle here is going to be the same as this angle here. This angle here, oh, let's use a different colour. This angle here is going to be equal to this angle here because they're opposite. And this angle here is going to be equal to this angle here because they are alternate. Now in terms of the other angles, we know that this angle here is going to be the same as this angle here because again they're opposite. But in terms of the other angles, now this angle here is not going to be equal to this angle here because BC and AD are not parallel, so that's not going to be the same. So in terms of things that are the same, they're the only things that are. So it says triangle AXB, so triangle AXB is A to X to B, so it's this triangle here is similar to CXD, which is this angle here. Now for triangles to be similar, the interior angles must be the same, which they are because as you can see I've got pink angle, an orange angle and a blue angle, so that there is true. It then says that angle AXD and BXC, so let's just get rid of the shading so it's not confusing. Let's bring that back. And so let's have a look. So triangle AXD, so AXD is this triangle here, is congruent to BXC, which is this angle here. And as you can see, we've only got one angle that is the same and none of the lengths are going to be equal to each other. So therefore that cannot be true. It then says that angle ADB is equal to angle BDC. So angle ABD, or ADB rather, which is this angle here, is equal to angle BDC, which is this angle here, which again is not going to be true at all. Then it then says angle ABC is equal to angle ABD. So angle ABD, let me just get rid of the shading that I've already done. ABC, so ABC, which is this angle triangle here, is equal to triangle ABD, ABD, and let's have a look. Well, they've both got a shared side. They've both got a common angle in terms of angle B and D, and they've also got a common side which is DB. So through ASA it is going to be true. And there we go.